Well, I am very privileged today to be with Mr. Alex Shikhanov. And that's not an easy last name to say, but I'm getting better at it. That's pretty darn close, right? And I have to tell you, it's an extra privilege when the way I met someone was through other extraordinary power players and people who have run ahead to say, listen, you got to get to know this guy. And so what a privilege that's been. We've got a few events under our belt, more to come, and it's just been awesome. So thanks for being here. I can't wait to hear your accent just played out in surround sound, because it's going to be part of the fun, brother. I want you, like so many great entrepreneurs, I think that the way things form in your mind at an early age, what that experience was like, I'm always very curious about that, because either some things really went right or you've worked really hard to get to a different place. But I want you to talk to me about early influences, early childhood. What did that setting look like? Family, parents, what did it look like for you?
Family. I guess I have grown in a normal Soviet family.
What does a normal Soviet family, though, look like? I've interviewed a lot of your Soviet friends, and it seems very different than anything I saw as being my normal. So,
right. So I mean, first of all, majority of us have been, growing, raising in condos, right? So it's here you can call them just projects in some regards, but it's a bunch of condominiums, same type of a building, everybody living in the same type of a condo. Would it be a 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom type of a deal? So, and initially when I was born, my family was splitting 2-bedroom condo with another family. So it was 5 members of my family, my grandma, mom, dad, me and my brother, and I was born into this pretty much, environment. And then the other family was 3 members, and we were sharing this same, I would say 650 square feet, maybe, 650 to 800 square feet type of a condo that only has 2-bedroom and, a living space and a small tiny kitchen.
1 bathroom.
And 1 bathroom, obviously, yes. And then that other family moved out back in 1982. I was born in 1979, and family moved out in 82. So 3 years later, we finally got to, to have this entire place, which I don't remember.
all 650 feet for the 5 of you.
So, and then we've grown, and, that's where I've grown. And it is 5-story buildings, 4 entrances, and, each entrance has kind of 20 condos. And that's one across each other, and that's pretty much your world. Okay, that's where you live. That's your friends. That's people you go to school with, to daycare, to anywhere, and that's how I've been growing up. As far as
and you were born there. How long did you live in that particular?
I would
condo?
say I mean it's a mix of things, but I've stayed in this place until I left the US, which was 21 years ago. And my grandma, so let's say I've had already a different place in Vladivostok, which is the city nearby, bigger city nearby my small hometown, which is Nakhodka, 130,000 people. That's where I kind of grew up. It's a port on the Sea of Japan. And that was the environment there.
And so you left for the US how old?
I was 25.
So you were born in this unit, and you lived there until you were 25.
It's not
with little exits here and there.
Correct. So what I've had, my parents built a house in '94, and we were supposed to all move, a bigger house with a plan that big family is going to be living there. My brother at the time older brother was living in Vladivostok, going to university over there. And I just never liked to live over there. So I was always trying to stay at my condo with my grandma. My school is literally 2 buildings, away from my house. I don't know, the 1 kilometer away. And that's been my life. And then as I was growing, I've rented let's call it a party house, with a friend of mine in the same town. And then I've had another condo that I was renting in Vladivostok because I was living 50-50 at the last, let's say, 3 years of my life before leaving to US. I was living 50% in Okhotka, 50% in Vladivostok. And eventually I moved on.
Yeah. And what did your dad do?
My dad was at some point commercial fishing, and then was working on a tugboat at a port, and then in late 80s, he's an entrepreneur at the end of the day. So I definitely have it from my mom, from my dad. They're both entrepreneurial. Mom is probably a little more of a business mind, and dad is entrepreneurial, where he could been active. So if you've been active back in 80s, you could have made money. So he opened up a video salon. That's what we called them. And that's where you have a VCR and you rent a space and you charge money for people to come in and watch a TV. And that was kind of a movie theater per se, but it was just based on the VCR. And that was an amazing business. I mean, back in the days, in late 80s, you could have exchanged a VCR for an entire condo. So you will give somebody a VCR and they will sign you off their condo, like a 1-bedroom condo, for just a VCR. That's how much value it had. So you could have made so much money. You were a god if you've had that VCR back in late 80s, early 90s.
And so your condo didn't have a TV in it?
It did. I would say as a family, we were better than average in some regards. My mom was working at wholesale sort of, it's a little, again, Russia is all centralized, and especially back in USSR. So any produce, any groceries, any supplies that come in town, they all go through the same facility, right? So all of the supplies first goes to that warehouse space, which belongs to the government, and then it gets distributed to all of the stores. My mom used to work in that space, so we always had access to food. We've never struggled. I've never kind of had that issue. Many people going through late 80s, 90s, all of those lines that, everybody were in USSR, I don't know, for our line to buy sausages or, anything, meat. So we've never experienced that. My grandma used to work at the refrigerator at the port, so she always had access to a lot of the food. And Russia is a unique country. So if you don't steal, you sort of don't live. I guess the whole country is made conceptually where everyone on every level, that corruption in some regards, or a little bit of everyone takes a little bit by little, in every single level. And the higher you are, the more you get. That's kind of how it always was. As far as food, I've never had that problem, so we always were living a little better than others. That's how it was.
And so, Alex, because you keep mentioning this, you had food, and you always had food because of kind of where they worked, or the fishing, or the warehouse, or something. You felt that was, you were pretty well off because you never had to worry about food.
I guess at the time of growing, I never understood that. But as I was growing and looking back, I understood how valuable it was, because, I was sharing clothing in, I guess you call it orphanage house. So that's my home, 5-story building. And then right next to it is this orphanage, right, home. And then my school. So, and kids who are, have no parents, been growing in there. Obviously, in a lot of cases, they were troublemakers, and not a lot of people were receptive to them, accepting them as a society. And one of my classmates was, from there, and he was at my house all the time. So and I know later, years, he shared with me that it was probably the most valuable thing that he had growing, that he had access to normal family. He've seen how family lives, the food, all of this. And as long as I remember myself, I always been sharing what I have. It's I love people. I love people. I love to share, and so if I can help, I will help. That's my personality.
Such an amazing perspective. Again, it and especially this is. How old are you now?
I'm 46.
46. So this is like 20 years ago. You're still living 20 some years ago, right in there, still living there. And I think that people here in this day and age that know you, they look at you, they go to the business that you own, they go to your home, and to think that 20 years ago that 650 square feet was your living quarters, it's so there was something going on in your mind there at the time, and I and your brother is how much older than you?
4 years.
Okay. And so when you came to America, did your brother come at the same time?
No, he came 8 years ago, 9.
Oh, wow. So you came just by yourself?
Correct. So what happened, my brother moved to Moscow in 2003, and I moved here in 2004. There is always this funny story that I laugh about me and him. So let's say he moves in 2003 and get to Moscow, having a hard time to find a job. And he was fairly successful back home. He was, let's call it an owner of a newspaper. And he was working for a TV, like a local TV. So interviewing, doing sort of podcast interviews with all the big bosses of our little hometown. And he was running newspaper. So a lot of like elections and so on. And he moves up to Moscow looking for a brighter life. So in about 6 months goes by, I call him one of those nights at my, it's a 7-hour difference. I call him, I'm like, Arthur, how are you doing? And I know he had hard time to find the work for 6 months. He's like, man, I'm going to work. I'm like, doing what? Oh, I found a job. It's a tire store. I'm like, tire? What do you have to do with tire? I decided just to at least give it a try. So I'm going to go work as a salesperson. I'm like, brother, I have an idea. I have just awesome idea. Why don't you come back, home, and we'll set you up with the best, most prime location. You're going to be the best salesman, but home, selling tires and so on. I was like, are you crazy? Did you go to Moscow to sell tires? So, and pretty much this day, he turned around, he never made back to this work, okay? And then a year goes by. And it was a big event, big kind of a thing for him. So 2 weeks, maybe a month later, he found a job where it was a real estate developer, and he made very, very good career in that. And then later he moved to a different place. However, a year goes by, 2005, early 2005, I'm in the US for a half a year. And it's also a time for me to go start looking for work. Maybe it wasn't as hard to find a job, but I decided to pursue construction. So I get to this job site, the guy is asking me, what can I do? I said tile. It's a long story how I got to be a tile setter, but, and then my brother calls me. And he's already a developer, right? And he's like, Alex, what's up? I'm like,
did you move to US to set down?
Exactly, driving to work. And he's like, dude, come over back home. I'll set you up. You can be a best tile installer. However, the joke was that I was like, brother, it's different. I'm here in the US. I don't speak English. I don't know anything. So it's just different. You were in a different environment. You were still home. And for me, just it's my career. I know where it's coming from, but that was the funny moment.
Yeah, that is, but distinctly different for sure.
Of course. It's just way more challenging, I guess, to find myself here, which took me a while to settle, to finally, find myself. I've gone through a fairly heavy depression in the early 05, and I never hold anything heavier than spoon before, and here I am doing tile, on my knees, working, doing construction, and all of my friends, I was a fairly successful businessman, which we can kind of talk, but and here I am just doing what I do, and working for $10 an hour, and literally having a hard time. And I started looking for work, and I ended up in Alaska. I spent half a year in Alaska because I was trying to find myself, and so I moved to Alaska, did construction over there for a half a year, which was a fairly good pay, and I finally was able to, stabilize. Picked up some English, which was an amazing experience. So I was working with a couple of American guys, and it was so practice all the time. And then I moved back to Seattle in November of 05, and then next year I again flew to Alaska, did a little bit of work over there, and then moved back up, and
closer
ever
to
since, ever since been there.
This is fascinating. Was there installed somewhere along the way that this idea of coming to America was the land of opportunity? Did you think that? Were you raised that way? Did you hear that?
Never.
What drew you to get on a plane and come then?
Spring of 04, I came here for first time to visit a friend of mine, and obviously I've seen an opportunity. So I spent about 3 months traveling back then, and so I spent a month and a half in Moscow and a month and a half here in the US, and my friend then showed me around. We flew to California, Oregon, Las Vegas. So I've seen, and it was 2004 was a booming for real estate. So I've seen how people, I don't know, in 2-3 months literally make $100,000 off of the house that, all of a sudden they bought them today, and 3 months later it's already, more $100K. And I was looking at those people, and I was like, man, if they can, I can. Okay. So, but I would say I was a proud citizen of my region. I never liked Moscow. I never liked, any central part of Russia. So, and I never thought that I'm gonna move. So I was really, living the happy life over there. So, and after coming back, I came with a lot of business ideas after that trip. So, and I've tried to implement those business ideas. One of them was a gambling business, coin machines. And so there was a stretch or a period of time for about 4 years in Russia where the whole country was gambling, and it was just a moment. So, and when I came, I was working with a group of people, so I approached them and asked them for funds to do this business, and they told me, Alex, in Russia, especially this type of business are kind of separated by, let's call it, gangs. And so people have control, and they told me, it's somebody else. I was like, guys, it's different. It's not a casino. It's just a different type of a thing, and these people won't really care about it for a period of time. So it's time to get in. They said no. So, and then I called a friend of mine in Latvia, in Riga, and asked him if he would fund that project. He offered me funds a couple of years before that. And he said, yeah, no problem. Just, talk to your guys and just make sure that everything is fine. I went back to my guys and I said, guys, if you don't give me money, I'll take money elsewhere. And they said, if you're not giving you money, it doesn't mean you can take money elsewhere. After that phrase, 4 days later, I left country. I decided that nobody ever will stop me doing business. And that was the country where I've seen that opportunity. So I've never, was growing with the idea moving to US, or that's a country. I didn't even know what US is. So, and that's how I got here. And, as year goes by.
It's them telling you the rules of how it works here, though, that they're in control of the situation and you're not, basically.
Correct.
Right.
So the issue is, again, my biggest issue was when somebody told me I cannot do something that I want, which is just a business, right? That what broke it for me. So
that was it. Wow. I'm fascinated by, what makes people move, but in all kinds of ways, move psychologically, move physically. It always is something. So your dad, what were the lessons you feel like you learned from your dad and your mom? The hard wiring that you got when you were a kid?
Dad, let's start there. I guess, again, dad is an entrepreneur, but not in the global scale, okay? Mom is definitely on a little different side. So my dad was honest, respectful, sport active, and when I was growing, I was 12 in 1991. That's where the country fell apart. That's where all of this criminal war have started, okay? And it was, let's say, cool to be sort of part of the surrounding, right? Part of this, which in some regards I was later in my, years. But I've seen that my dad, not being a part of any of this, have been respected, always been respected by the guys. And I mean, a lot of them he knew. And so there was in entrepreneurial part of him that he would always do something for his family to provide. That was number one that I learned for him. Hard work is kind of part of this. Biggest thing that my dad made the biggest impact, there are two things. One, growing up, I had to do, as majority of Russian, is just do a lot of physical work, okay? So it's a gardening, we were building a house, we were doing a lot of stuff, and there was always physical moment. We go gardening, digging, those fields, planting potatoes, digging them out, working on those, picking berries, cucumbers, tomatoes, marinating them, making jams, all kinds of stuff. So, kids, you wanna go chill, take a moment. And what my dad used to do, so by making me to do all of this, he was repeating all my life that if you study well, you won't have to do it. Just be wise, be smart. And by doing that, in some regards, he killed all of the desire to do any physical labor. So when I came to US, for me, one of the biggest struggles was to go and do the physical labor. As much as I enjoy it, I'm very handy. So, I will pick up anything. You give me any tool, so, I'll do it. Let's say again, going back to my childhood, I started playing chess at 4.5. Okay. At 5 years old, I went to judo. So until probably 11, 12, I was at the judo and chess parallel. And then I found this unique thing, which was go-karts. And I joined a go-kart club, racing. And most importantly, there was no funding much. So it means that it was more taking and, rebuilding those engines. So early enough, I learned how to do anything. Being handy, cutting metal, be creative, thinking outside, the box and so on. Then doing construction with my dad, building a house, taught me a lot. Again, I am very handy. But that thought always in the back of my mind was preventing me, was stopping me. So when I moved here in the US, to date, I see a lot of people move, go to construction, and never change, never get out of those working shoes. Number one desire, number one priority was, man, be done, okay? Right. Be outside of those working boots and don't ever hold the tool. On one hand, it's a confidence of mine that at any given time anything happens to me, I know how to provide, food for on the table for my family. At any given time, I'm super handy. So I have primarily any skill related to construction that is out there. So I did flooring, tile is my specialty, countertop framing, you call it. So I've done it all. And so that's, I guess, that's what my dad made the biggest impact of me. And So by simply teaching me and telling me not to do it. Second thing that he did on me, which is tale of my life and in some regards my driver and my motivation, it's his disbelief, okay? His disbelief in me, and that for probably until I was 35, when finally things started working out for me, he was always, you're doing something wrong. Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? So, and for me, from early enough, I was entrepreneurial. Starting, 12, I was selling newspaper already, washing cars and so on. And that was always, you got to work, you got to study well, you got to go work for police, you got to do anything. So, but nothing what I was doing it. He wasn't supportive, and it always was more criticism rather than support. And my desire to prove to my dad that I can. So that was a big driver. And for years and years and years, that was my driver. My mom is absolutely opposite. So I inherited a lot of moms, okay? So it's outgoing, easy, communicative, business mindset, creative, smiley, happy. I call myself positive optimist. My mom is positive optimist, okay? I absolutely can say that. So a lot of the, there is always that bad cop, good cop in the family as well. So, and my mom would be always the good cop. Dad will be the bad cop.
The hammer.
Yeah, sometimes those roles will change because, everybody have, I guess, limits. I can break those limits. But that's what I've got from mom. I would say all of the good parts of mine, a lot of it is mom. It's not that in dad, I don't know, a lot. I mean, he just taught me to be strong.
Are they both living still?
Yeah, they're here. They're here at the moment. Right now, they came a month and a half ago. We'll be here for another month. And then going home.
And is home still
same place? I mean, not same condo.
But right
again, my parents built that fairly large house, which is, let's say, 2,000 square feet or so. So which considered to be a big house there. And then they sold them, and they're living in a really nice place. So plus, all of the support kind of I can provide. They're living a happy life. I've tried to make them to move, and we applied, we got approved, and then I told them that, it's time to go for the interview for a green card, and they said no. And they asked me, what would you do? I said, I would never move. I just would never move. I was honest. They're living over there. Here it will be, surviving, watching kids, doing nothing, getting bored. There it's life. They're truly living the life. So, and I'm proud, of that. I'm happy for them.
How often do you get back there to see them?
I hardly ever go there, but we travel a lot. So let's say they're here right now. I saw them in March in Thailand. It was their 50th anniversary, and I've made a pretty cool party for them. So I've rented this amazing villa in Thailand and flew my relatives and rented the yacht and rented a restaurant and DJs and anything, and just we've had absolute blast. And before that, I saw them, I think in Turkey or somewhere in Europe. So I mean, I would meet them typically once a year. This year it happened to be twice. I saw them in Thailand. Now they're here. This year we were together. We've met in Turkey, spent a little bit of time there, and then flew up here. There is a lot of cool stuff that I do for my parents. I fly them. I spoil them. Okay, so I try to spoil. I try to take care of good care of them.
That's fantastic. That's awesome. I remember when you were going to Thailand with them. Yeah, I went, what? What are you doing? Flying everybody to Thailand? That's pretty awesome. That's pretty awesome. So there was a period of time though when you got here and you were working that I'm not using your words, but it sounds as though it was humbling. It was a time where you're working construction. You're like, okay, where is this going? When did you feel like being here, you started to see a route, have some vision? Was it seeing real estate moving and you went, I've got to do this? Was it when did you feel like you started getting traction here in the United States?
There are a couple of things about it. When I moved here, one of my number one desires was to pick a direction for the rest of my life that I can focus on. And I was too spread back home. So I was doing recruiting agency, car business, bank representative. I've had a computer store, a cafe, you call it, okay? So, I mean, I was doing so many things and none of them are really connected and, again, fairly successful, but at the same time, not focused enough. So when I came, my first desire was to pick the path for the rest of my life. And construction real estate was that path. And let's say in 2008, right? So going through 2004, 2005, I just started working, 2006, 2007. So it was Alaska time, 2005, 2006. 2007, I went to work for a store for about half a year, selling tile countertops. And then one of my main buyers, my main account, was a Russian-speaking guy. And he offered me to be his right-hand man. And he had a company, about 60 employees, doing apartment renovations. And pretty much I joined him as a vice president and worked with him. And unfortunately, it was 2008 and things started kind of falling down. There was two requirements on my end. There was that I work for a bonus and I don't do any physical labor. That was two requirements I set, okay? And slowly but surely there was lesser and lesser work. We had to go, let go some of the guys. And I can do a lot of stuff. So, and I started, helping here and there. And finally he was like, oh, you go there, you do this. I'm like, dude, I'm sorry. I can do my own stuff. So I left him. But again, it was 2008 and things were kind of going down. On one hand, if I would look through my careers in here, I never stopped growing ever. So from the moment, 2005, it's always been ramping up, okay? Life is a roller coaster, right? So as you know, so there is always kind of ups and downs. As far as stable, I divide my life to a few different chapters. So 2005 through 2011, it was just a roller coaster, up, down. I mean, there was good moments, bad moments. One of the biggest challenge for me was immigration. So I didn't have green card until 2010 or 2011. So there was a lot of complexity along with that. I've had some immigration problems. And finally, 2011 is really the time when things kind of start shifting for me. But at the same time, it was one of biggest issues that happened or impact that happened. I opened up a partnership with my best friend and lost my best friend over that partnership that we grew up together. Our parents are best friends. So in 2011, we fell through a major argument, and ever since really don't talk, unfortunately. And so 2011, I opened up Armada, which is kind of my one of probably my main chapters of my life. And in Armada, it was 2011 to 2014 was the moment to stabilize. And 2014, I would call it at the moment where I felt solid, making money, life is going, so everything is good. 14 through 18, it was growth. I've grown company by 10 times. By myself in 4 years, I was finishing, let's say, year of 2013 with maybe 900,000 revenue, and by 2018 I was at 8.5 million. But
in mostly remodeling,
just remodeling,
high-end remodeling.
Correct. Yeah. So and then some new construction, some majority of the remodels. In November of 2018, I was doing 22 remodels and 7 major projects either in new construction or major innovation, let's say above $500,000 kind of the project. But circumstances and consequences came in, and so I burned out. I burned out so badly by end of 2018 that I couldn't do it anymore. I realized that it's time to change. So I've made great money. There was no question about money. There was now a question of, am I going to survive with my mental...
Right.
So in 2019, that was the moment for restructuring the business. So, and that's probably the biggest business growth that I've gone through is 2019 through 2023. That's where back in 2019, I kind of draw up an org chart for the organization, where I want the company to be, how do I envision that, and by 2023, I pretty much accomplished the vision, and it was fully in there. And today, we're again changing certain things. I'm going through new restructuring, and so it's there is development of, let's say, you work and then you bring in 2-3 guys that work for you, so you get out from working shoes, and then you have about, let's say, 10 guys working for you. Now you need to bring the manager, and then let's say you get to 25 people. Now you have to have managers over the managers in some regards. And then, you grow to, or you have to have department managers. And then now I'm at about 50 employees. And so it's now C-level management, whatever that level would be, production manager, design role manager, and so on. And kind of, so the org structure is now there in the company. The company is growing. We're doing well.
The progression of a company directly follows, though, your own vision and competence is obviously growing heavily. Nobody starts with $500,000 remodels. You had to sort of work into that, right?
Correct.
But it's happening. Talk about the role of Ivan in your. You have Armada, but you also have a partnership with Ivan that is more focused on acquisition. When did that start going, and what was the genesis of that when all this is going on?
Okay. So Ivan, we've met about 10 years ago at this point, and when he just moved to US, the guy, somehow on one hand we click, but on the other hand we are two opposite, like black and white. Okay, I don't know.
I see that.
you know the difference between us, and so, but we got connected, even though at the moment of us meeting, he wasn't drinking, he wasn't eating meat. I don't know what he was doing, honestly. So, but we got connected. There was a lot of business talks, and it was just a friendship. So, and that friendship slowly but surely started to develop into something bigger. Again, that friendship was through the kids. Our kids were going to the same daycare, and then again, Ivan is IT entrepreneur. So he's had successful startups in Russia. One of them is still his main source of income, passive income that he's kind of living off. And then 2019, 2020, he started looking into real estate. As much as he's an IT guy, I would call it, he got exhausted with just an IT type of a business, and he was looking for, let me rephrase it. I believe that IT is the most advanced type of a business that does exist. Okay, so if all the best practices that do exist are primarily in the IT world, and Ivan learned a lot through his career, and his vision was if he can implement those on different field, he can make some big impact. So, and he started looking at real estate and fell into interest of Airbnbs, then modular homes. So we've been talking, as we meet, we would be talking. He would like, what do you think of modular home industry? And I didn't know much about it. So we were talking about, let's say, why construction is so inefficient. Construction industry overall haven't had any major changes or improvements for the last 75 years. And as we then learn, later, the modular home industry did not have any improvements for the 25 years. So we've been asking ourselves, what's the reason? I mean, besides all of the code changing and making things way more complex and, energy codes and everything, which typically increases the price of a build, it was also a question, why is just the same? Why nothing changes? Our theory was that it's a product customization, and that customization of a product always preventing that industry to to change. Our belief was that through modular home manufacturing, it could be solved. So that's where the idea of modular home manufacturing came in, and that's where we partnered up. As we were looking at the modular home industry, we were looking how to do product market fit and how to test the product that we are going to be developing. An idea came for a vertically integrated company, which was buying land, producing modular homes, and doing property management, doing Airbnbs out of those. And that's how we partnered up. It was initial commitment for $300,000 from each, which we overcommitted ourselves above and beyond. So in 2021, we partnered up. We purchased first modular just from manufacturing, then we opened up our little plant, started doing this. As much of a great idea it was, unfortunately, it just didn't work out. We selected the wrong, I would say, product because we were trying to eliminate customization. But we picked out secondary secondary housing market. And in the secondary housing, people want what they want, and they don't want to be limited to their choices. Financing was hard. We've lost kind of momentum and energy and some on. And then the opportunity came aboard through a commercial real estate, which was somewhat accidental. We ran into Rafik, and Rafik introduced us to commercial real estate. That's where it's all happened, and it clicked. It clicked the first pretty much moment I've heard about it. I've learned the model, and I fell in love. I'm still in love. I'm still probably in that romantic period with commercial real estate and enjoying every moment. I mean, there are challenges. It's a fairly complex model. One of the things that came along with commercial real estate is there are two parallels that are happening for me. So one, I joined a business community, business club, and through business club, I've met Rafik. And my personal development that have happened in the last 2 years is probably the biggest that ever happened to me, and change that I believe is that have happened right now is I got disconnected from the numbers, meaning just numbers, and the size of the numbers doesn't matter. Okay, so let's say for me, 5,000 used to be a big project, 100,000, 500,000. So today we're looking at projects 10 million, 50 million, 100 million. Sky is the limit. I don't think anymore of, so I'm simply not limited by the number. And that's probably the biggest change that have happened to me in the past 2 years.
And you would credit this to the business club that you're a part of?
It's a business club. Some of it is a commercial real estate. Some of it, let's say, Troy Muliet. Thanks for the introduction. And when we met Troy, I asked, people, what made one of the biggest impact for you? How did you get to such a big game? And Troy made an amazing example that I'm now sort of trying to adapt my kids to. And he said that at the early age, he became a commercial real estate appraisal. And at the super early age, he got exposed to pretty much, any of those numbers, millions and millions and millions of dollars. And kind of once you get used to it, let's say you go work for the bank and you see those transactions of millions of dollars, you really don't care. Those zeros doesn't matter.
Right.
That's one thing. Second thing, it doesn't matter how many zeros are out there. It's the same amount of effort that you have to spend. Either you're doing it $1,000 deal or you're doing $100 million deal. Yes, it's a different risk, but at the same time, same steps, same moves, same everything. Yep. You're just playing a different game, so you gain different reward. And that's what I love about commercial real estate. You can probably do some of this in residential, in kind of what I do. Just doesn't drive me. I don't know. I was looking. I am driven a lot by feels. I feel things. So let's say me and Ivan, again, that's the biggest difference, right? Numbers, logic. That's Ivan. Spreadsheets, okay? And I am feel. As much as logic and everything is in me, but I also have gut feelings. I have, I either like it or I'm not, and I'm driven by that. So in commercial real estate, it's just something that I fell in love.
I think that's a tremendous insight Troy gave you. And he did start as an appraiser and into the commercial world. You become sort of, it's numbers that all add up, and whether it's 5 million or 50 million, it's just another appraisal that somebody's paying for, and there it is, and it all makes sense, and you're sort of become immune to the zeros.
Correct, and the zeros, and then eventually when he went on his own, he wasn't scared whatsoever. Okay, $5 million deal, who cares? Let's do it. So that's where I think one of the biggest things, and I do know when I was doing my, let's say, first $1 million deal, or receiving my first million kind of a check, to my personal account, it was like, man, it was so crazy and amazing, and so.
Yeah, no, that's growth. But I also think your mind has to be open to that. You have to be open to go in saying this is the way it is the wrong attitude. You've got to be willing to evolve to what you're learning and seeing.
That's absolutely correct.
Yeah. And I'm very thankful to Rafiq because, I'd gotten a call from Rafiq when he was here actually doing a podcast.
Yeah.
And said, hey, do you mind if someone I've met, he's from Seattle, joins us here? So that's when I first met you face to face, and you sat here and listened to Rafiq's podcast.
Exactly. And again, it was absolute pleasure of mine to meet you. So funny enough, I met Rafiq, and he mentions at some point Greg Pinneo. Then we go Commercial Academy, and so many people say Greg Pinneo. And then we learned that Greg Pinneo apparently is the local guy for me. There aren't that many people out of Seattle, in Commercial Academy, and it was Greg. So that was just such an amazing coincidence.
Yeah, that really was funny. Another crazy coincidence, and this is sort of off our topic, but was sitting with Terry at Power Players and discovering that she knew Nikita from the Carolinas before you did. I assumed you met him through Commercial Academy as well.
I met him also through Terry, yeah.
Right. And I went, wow, what a small world that she knew, because of course Rafiq and Nikita are good friends and both Power Players and great people. Yeah. So take me back a little bit to, you made a decision. You came here and you said, I was here to find the one thing that I was going to get focused on and I was going to stay with. And it became, construction and real estate, those things in tandem. What led to that conclusion? Was it seeing the market? Was it seeing how people were making money? Was it, that's what I'm going to focus on?
Again, combination of things, right? When I came, my friend at the time, who unfortunately, we're no longer kind of friends, he was in the mortgage industry business. So he was a mortgage broker, and I saw him doing mortgages. And obviously, I've learned from him all of those activities that people are doing, investing money, making quick money. And plus, he was slowly but surely stepping into this. So that was first kind of to a lot of Russian-speaking community or Slavic, people or again in construction industry. So when I came here, I've met a lot of them because I moved here in August of 2004, and through kind of until January, I wasn't really thinking of work. So I went to Edmonds Community College, picked up some language. I was staying at Alex's. Then I moved to host family, and so I've had the chance to just see, kind of absorb, and decide. And how I got to tile. So I'll just say it. I was staying at Alex's house. The tile installer came in, gave him an estimate to do the tile job, $1,000. And I'm like, with my mentality just moved up here. I'm like, are you crazy? $1,000, man, I'll do it for free. So, and I did the tile job for him, at Alex's place. And everybody were complimenting, Alex, man, you've done such an awesome tile job. I was like, okay. So when I went to find the job, the guy is asking me, what can you do? The first thing came to my mind was tile. But
I just did one job.
Exactly. So, and
it worked out.
The construction, so I've seen a lot of this construction activity. My dad in the past, back in early 90s as well, was involved in renovation business. My uncle is a professional construction manager, so who did a fairly successful career in construction industry, building condos, building apartments, renovating government projects, and so on. And so I was exposed at the early enough age to see how how construction is doing. Simple things such as housing is never going anywhere. One of the biggest industries. Later in my life, I've learned that 65% of all money in the world are in real estate. So, and if I'm not mistaken, out of those 65%, 40% are in residential, by the way, and 25% or so, or 20% in commercial. So it was fairly quick path for me to get, because construction is fairly inexpensive entry. You don't have to spend much. It's just your hands and a little bit of tools. So $5,000, and you already can be a contractor of any kind, and do whatever you want to do. So inexpensive entry, endless amount of possibilities. The industry that would never ever disappear. It's the industry that is kind of economy proven, any cycle proven, just because people need housing, people need the renovation. So it just never going anywhere. That's why it probably was one of the most secure type of job and industry that I could have picked out. So that was the decision.
Well, just to describe, Armada a little bit from a consumer's perspective, you come into, first of all, the setting of it being in Bellevue. It's a very high-end community. The facility is absolutely a gorgeous build-out that just looks very high-end, like you walk into the Cosmopolitan Hotel in Vegas. It feels like that when you walk in. And you're catering to a very high-end clientele that $1 million remodel is what they do when they just spent $8-9 million on a house in Hunts Point, So I think that then learning how to do the quality of work in all aspects, you've obviously learned it, you're growing in it. But I also find it really interesting that what really seems to drive your heart more than anything right now is the acquisition world, the commercial world. That's where you really light up.
That is correct.
Yeah.
Acquisition. It's as we're going through that, it's fairly challenging. And as you are well aware, we recently, unfortunately, lost probably my biggest project that we almost had in place. It was $10 million acquisition of shopping center in Spanaway, slightly over 200,000 square feet. We were under contract for 4.5 months, and we were at the last minute of due diligence expiration, and an hour and a half prior, after everything had been agreed, and attorneys is just finalizing, last parts and details for the contract. And we've negotiated a discount of $1 million from those 10, and purchase price was supposed to be 9 million. We've got a call, and a broker said that client or seller changed his mind and no longer giving you $1 million off, and wants to get original purchase agreement price of 10 million. And kind of we had no choice but to back out. So it's for this 4.5 months, the amount of lessons, the amount of things that we have gone through is countless. I mean, we spend around $100,000 just in fees for due diligence between attorneys and surveyors, and phase 1, phase 2, and so on. So it's fairly expensive lessons. Two things that are probably the biggest conclusions out of this experience. Number one, what you teach, okay? Talk to the seller. Have direct communication with the seller. Unfortunately, it was a trust sale. However, there was a trustee that we've had an opportunity to stay in touch with, but we lost that momentum and kind of never were able to re-engage. And all the communication was done through the broker, which was an issue. That's number one. Number two, first go over big blocks. So let's say when you're doing due diligence, the checklist for due diligence is huge, right? And you have to do so many things. But there are obvious big blocks, smaller and smaller, that you have to address. And we went on kind of doing the whole thing without really solving, from bigger to smaller. And the bigger blocks that we learned, let's say, down the road, maybe a month and a half, which was the septic conversion to sewer. The property surprisingly was on the septic, and we had to connect it to sewer. Not had to connect, but that was probably the biggest challenge. And that sewer connection would kill the deal at the end of the day. So again, two simple conclusions.
Right.
Be connected to the seller and have that personal touch. And two, first address big blocks and, go along with that.
Well, I've had the pleasure now of having you at Power Players twice. Not just once, twice. You just went a second time. Let's address the world of finance and how important that is as numbers get bigger. There's a lot of ways to finance projects. Tell me how your evolution of thought has gone in the world of finance.
Oh, that's unique. So my first Power Players were in January and second in August. The deal, we found them in February. We got it under purchase and sale agreement in March. And so we lost it, 2 weeks ago, which is just end of August.
Yeah.
So it was right between Power Players. The creativity around financing is endless. I mean, number one, that you changed my mind, okay, through Power Players, is that there is never a dead end. There is always another option, especially when we're talking, creative financing. I was lucky to be supported through this deal by Nikita and Rafik, okay? Both just two amazing human beings that I love. And
that started just like you, by the way.
So, and
I don't let them forget that.
Both
keeps them humble.
Both were involved, and Rafik was probably, a little lesser than Nikita. Nikita was there. So, the amount of options, I mean, I'm still, I would call myself, as much as I am not new to the real estate world and I've been doing it long enough, but my experience is just not. But during the negotiation, seeing Nikita coming up with the variety of options, let's increase the price, let's decrease the price. let's go for owner finance, let's go for this type of finance, let's chop this deal to this way, let's do binding site plan, let's offload portion of a debt, let's do. The amount of options when you're looking at real estate is endless. So many people, I think, the biggest obstacle or the biggest issue is, again, first, it's all about mindset, okay? We are our own limit. So the limit is not there, the limit is here. So that's where it starts. And as I told you, the conclusion after my power player is, how I said it, all our assumptions are wrong. If you don't ask, you don't get. So that's how it works. Not only you have to think outside the box, but you have to ask. You always have to ask. You always have to provide different option, and something would work. So when you're looking, if you think there is an, let's say, asset, and there is you, and there is only one option, let's say, bank in between, no, man. The options are endless. So again, through this project, it was amazing learning curve that taught me negotiations, gave me sleepless nights. Probably one of the most stressful moments for me in the last 3-4 years, okay? Going through this, that's the sad part of this, but at the same time, I believe it opens up different possibilities. Those bigger numbers come with just more stress. There is no question about it.
It's like watching a professional golfer with a putt that you make it, you make $1 million. You miss it, it costs you $1 million. Yeah.
Exactly. So it just it's a little more, I guess, stressful. But it's amazing. It's fascinating.
Well, this is such an amazing journey, and I go back with Nikita I met first, and this is Whistler 18 years ago, right? That's a long time ago, but to see his evolution and growth of taking deal structuring and finance and really grasping it, really understanding all the moving parts, all the variables, all the options, all the ways of doing things. The same with Rafiq, really grasping that. You're well on your way. And this case study, there's no way to learn it better than diving in, and it's the real deal. That's how you really learn something. So
one of the things I do want to say that going, first time for power players, again, I'm native to English, right? And so, and a lot of, let's say, terminology, a lot of the things were just harder to comprehend. And I don't think it matters even if you do speak that, language. It still was so much information. And when I've gone through first round of, first event from first power players, as much as I've learned, it was, it was slowly but surely settling, and I was utilizing it. But going the second time, man, let me tell you, it was something so much different. It was finally everything was clicking in. One of the I would say unique things that I've learned, being there a second time, I've realized how every of your little move, I think power players is probably one of the most thought through, well-structured training that I can think of, or I know, or maybe exists, okay? From the moment I see you first time in the morning to the last moment we shake hands and we say bye.
16 hours later.
Not 16, whatever. I don't know how many hours do we go through. Right. 40 hours, I guess, in 3 days.
I'm taking a day.
Just a day, yeah. But every single detail matters. What you start talking at 8, 7 in the morning of a first day carries through the entire duration. Every single little thing, every training, every possibility is connected. So when I was listening to you second time, man, those dots were connecting. So finally, every single little thing, Jack and Jane, this and that, negotiations, all of this matters. Every single little thing makes an effect to the next, to the next, to the next. I appreciate it.
It's the great challenge of this particular sports entrepreneurship is that it's equally as complex in the right side of the brain as it is the left side of the brain. People tend to think, oh, this is like math and finance. Well, it is all that, but the right side of the brain is arguably even more important.
Yeah.
And when they interface and you see how they marry, people think, oh, they're so distinctly different. They are, but they have to marry in the art form of communication and presentation. That's the real challenge.
Sure.
But when it comes together, then it's like, oh my gosh, anything's possible. Here we go. So I couldn't be more excited for you, and it's awesome. Tell me about your family. It's been so great. Just a few beautiful times that have been able to be with your family, watch them, and of course Terry's attended Power Players, and tell me about that and you, because it definitely is your heartbeat. I can see it.
Family is everything. Yeah. Again, I'm lucky to grow in a family where I still believe, that my parents, that they're in love. So I always had this perfect example of, I would call it, perfect family. So I've grown in best environment possible where parents do respect and value each other, support each other, work together. Are there arguments? Yeah, obviously, as any other family, but it was through love, through support. So for me, I've had that example, and when I think of a family, that's what I want to have. That's what I want to build. We are all children of our parents, okay? So, and we are made, tailored, I don't know, at the early age, and and all of the values and anything else we carry through our life, it still comes from parents, how we've been growing up. Now I have, the wife and 2 kids. Michael is 11 at the moment, and Milana is 14. Both are active in sports. Michael is playing hockey. Milana is in volleyball, fairly competitive, and getting more and more. Kids, I love kids. I love the family. Wife, I have one of the most beautiful, amazing wives I could have wished for. And so she is my, let's say, in a family, I'm the man. I am the head, but there is a neck. And that's surely my wife, okay? She is the home. So first and foremost, she is mom. Second, wife. And 3, she is a businessman. Okay, so there are 3 things that combine in her, and she's good at all of them. And 4, maybe I'll say cooking. You've tried it, okay? So Terry,
I think you both 5-star in that department.
Yeah. So Terry is just an absolute 5-star, chef with her creativity, with how she does it, and one of the probably biggest skills for Terry is sales. So her career, when we met initially, she was in the finance manager position at her 23 years old. I think Nissan dealership in Raleigh, North Carolina, and already was making 6 figures. My dad keep asking me, how did you convince her to move to Seattle? So, and she dropped the career and she moved. And, soon enough, we've had kids and things. I knew that she had that sales skill. So first she tried to go back to that car business industry, but that was the first time when I learned the term overqualified. So she didn't want to go for the full-time finance manager, was trying to do a little different, but was overqualified and was not accepted. Eventually, she got to an insurance business and worked with a friend of mine who said, Alex, I've never seen such a conversion from anybody. I have a lower conversion that she does. You give her a client, she closes them. Then Terry joined a real estate brokerage. She started at John L. Scott, didn't work out. Then she joined a small team. And again, same thing. You give her a lead, it's a done deal. And most importantly, it's a deal where it's followed through. Okay,
Right.
It's done from A to Z.
Right.
A lot of so we all separate players. Let's say A level, B level, C level. Okay. I recently heard this amazing analogy about you send someone to buy you a bread, and someone comes and comes back. Sorry, the store is closed. That's a C player, okay? So a B player goes out and, goes to the store is closed, go to another one, and finally finds Brad, and brings it over. And then A player goes out, goes through all the stores, meet all the owners, creates a business idea, brings you Brad with a variety of different choices and says, here's the business plan for you to accomplish something. Terry is an absolute A player who delivers a turnkey, done deal, and that's the beauty of her. Recommendations, from friend or feedback that I hear from her clients, that is the customer service she provides is just absolutely exceptional.
I liken it to how she prepares and makes a meal at your house. I've never eaten such a meal, where it's, is this the meal? Oh no, this is the pregame of the pregame of the pregame. We're moving up to, and then it continues when you're completely full and it's got to be done. No. Now here's this, here's that, here's this, here's that. And then the drinks, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is just over delivery. But you're right, A to Z. I can see that. And I think it's so great that she's also very up to her neck in the real estate world, because this is the language of your life, your future professionally. And I just see that as being huge as well.
One thing that drives me nuts about her passion, I would say, to work is if she is talking to a client or she is working, you cannot talk to her. You cannot touch her. There is an absolute different animal. There is whatever the A type of animal that is sitting there is just, this part drives me nuts. But again, that's why she can deliver that exceptional service.
I'll tell you, I saw that actually. We were in Kirkland on that property that one time with that one seller. And I noted, I said, wow, I have never seen such locked on
dedication.
Wow, just like focus. There wasn't anything she wasn't seeing or taking in. I admire that. But you're right, she was not going to be distracted. Yeah. So, well, you have it. I want you to talk about all the remodeling, all the construction you've done for clients with Armada. Was it different for you? Was it a different experience building the home that you live in now from scratch? Was that a different experience for you and Terry than all of the other projects?
Of course, it's part of our heart right now.
Right.
Now it's our home, and so the previous house we've remodeled, did an addition, and so on. But it's a new house is never ever would be comparable to whatever you remodel. So the new house, first you're doing it for yourself. You can think of every square inch. You can think of everything, and it all comes with an idea of what do you need, okay? So let's say a first floor must have an office. It must have master suite for guests, parents, and so on. It must have a mudroom, and it must have a pantry. That's an absolute must, besides all the living, family room, kitchen, and so on, okay?
Right.
That was kind of an absolute must. Let's say on the second floor, we want to live in a separate wing. We don't want to hear, see anything that is happening, in relation to kids. And then there is another wing where and all of those little details made, both of us went through, through heavy construction life career, and there is real estate. So we both seen good houses, bad houses, heard feedback. And when we were designing home, Terry primarily was responsible for all the selection, all of the materials. So my goal is floor plan, flow, layouts, stuff like that. And it's still an argument who did the really floor plan, and Terry believes that she did, but it doesn't matter. So again, I've had.
We'll edit that out. It doesn't matter. She's gonna hear this and go, "What do you mean it doesn't matter? I did it."
Again, the house have every single details we want. Right now, somebody recently asked me, would you change anything in this house? Or if you build, what would you change? I'll add 2 more rooms, wine cellar, and gym. Everything else, I'm perfectly fine with, okay? So I love house to date. I won't change a single thing.
Right.
I love every square inch, how it is, how it works, how it functions, the energy, the openness, anything. So it's, for me, it was, the other thing, let's say, many people, right, have problems going through remodels. Some families fell apart. And I've seen it all through my career. I've seen how people argue. So I knew every possibility that could happen and how to resolve it before it happens. So I brought in an amazing designer, architectural designer, Tatiana, who was that amazing balance between us. So I told her what was super important for me, and at the same time I told her how to kind of hold up on Terry's vision, because Terry she loves, let's say, different design from different places, but I believe in the consistency and in kind of same
theme,
throughout the house. While we could have a house with portions of Mediterranean, Moroccan, and in transitional and traditional. So that's why there was always that balance via designer. So Tatiana helped us out to go through. We've never really had much of the arguments. It was an absolute pleasure. We're still together. We're enjoying the house, and I don't think we've had any negative experience doing this. But most important is an outcome. If anybody ever would consider, building a house, that's will be my number one advice. If you can do it, that's a different experience. Nothing will compare what you design versus what you buy.
Well, yeah, you've remodeled so many. That's a very qualified statement. You look at a finished product like that, and it's breathtaking. I think that too, framing it that this is such a privilege, right? To get to do something like this is. You can't frame it as, oh, this is so stressful or or you're missing it. This is a privilege because who gets to do this? It's a big deal. And I happen to know, because I've asked you, that this won't be the last one. You're in love with this now. They went so well. It's like, wow, okay,
you're hooked.
You're hooked. Yeah. I have another power player that is finishing his first house for himself right now, and already he's like, oh my God, I don't want it to end. I'm loving it so much. I got to do it again. Yep. I'm already looking for another site.
We're already as well, and we're already looking for possibly considering already buying a piece of land, and we just need to decide where, because at some portion of my mind, I would like to take a challenge of moving, relocating, not relocating within a state, move to a different state, and kind of just start life in some regards over. I recently was in a mastermind, and there was this big discussion about what was the event that made, recent event that made biggest impact on you. And out of 10, 6 said the move, either to a country, to a new state, and it was most positive outcome that that you could have got. So it was finding yourself, finding more time, recognizing your true interests, spending more time with family, and so just it opens up so many possibilities. Let's say for me, I live in routine, right? A lot. So, and I mean, we travel. I'm 60 days out of a year out of office. So we travel the world. We go anywhere and everywhere, and so we already have plans through almost end of next year.
Wow.
It's New Zealand, it's Europe, it is cruise, it is. So
the more you travel, the bigger the option and palette gets too. You might see a place to go, oh wow, okay,
Lake Como.
Here's where it is. Yeah, right. Here's where it is.
Lake Como is one of them.
That's absolutely awesome. Well, this will be fun to watch that evolution and watch the direction of it. I'm one of the phrases that we'll be talking about here coming up in a couple weeks, and you just said it, is in this mastermind, like what's the most impacting thing in a positive way, and it was moving. Well, moving, most people would describe as really disruptive. And that's the word that will be on a hat that you'll get here on the 20th. Disruption. Disruption is, some people have a negative connotation to that, but I will start the day framing that word is the greatest word ever, because it's in deliberate disruption where you say, no, we're going for this, that all of a sudden you have to rethink everything again. You have to question everything again. You have to rebuild and start, and it's all new again. And that's where we grow, in disruption. We don't grow in a comfort zone where everything is predictable and calm and we've got it down. We grow when we purpose to disrupt what's happening next. And you've led the way. You've really done that. And I think it's absolutely amazing that really when you look at timelines, you're a dozen, 13 really solid, I know what I'm wanting to do and I'm going to do it years, which is just amazing to have established Armada and to lean in and to be involved in so many things together. I think it's just absolutely extraordinary. It's got to give everybody this wake-up call. Like, where could you be in a decade from now if you were willing to just lay it out and go for it? Because you've done that. And Terry's done that. And you and Ivan have done that. And it's amidst, too, the challenge of learning a language and et cetera, et cetera. I mean, this is not like you were delivered with, plenty of money in your pocket and let's go. It started from zero. and I am so inspired by that. It makes me hear of the excuses that I hear all the time of why something can't happen. And I just want to rattle people, because it's like, no, you don't want it bad enough. You don't want it bad enough, because if you did, I see what's possible all the time with amazing entrepreneurs like you. So
at the same time, we do have different abilities. Okay, so it's not that we are all the same.
No.
It's not.
No.
And Ivan in particular said that seed in my mind where I would say I used to believe that, we're in some regards all equal and we have same options and opportunities and so on. No, we're not. I mean, everyone is given, there is a great saying, don't take it for granted. The abilities that, that I've been given by whatever that is, okay, by family, by genes, by anything is just don't take it for granted.
Don't waste it too.
Exactly, don't waste it. So all of us have its own, again, we're molded, while we're growing, right? Especially as kids. So a lot of those beliefs, disbeliefs, limitations, and so on are kind of planted at the early age, and we're formed a certain way. So for me, that the desire to always win, grow, disbelief in some regards, that was something that made me to be who I am. I'm by nature a leader. By nature, always being up to something, after something.
Optimistic,
but most importantly, looking for trouble, okay? Looking for trouble and doing, because trouble what creates results at the end of the day.
Disruption creates results, right?
Disruption creates results for sure.
Yeah.
If you live life in that flat sort of style, whatever, if there is no altitude, if there is no, I think it's just boring.
Yeah.
It's there at some point, Brad, she is like in love with numerologist, right?
Yeah.
Numerologist. And by the numbers, if you look kind of at me, the way she described me is, so imagine a early morning at the lake, right? The water is still.
Flat water.
So just flat, right? Yeah. It's like, it's there. You come up to it, there is a little bit of fog flying, and it looks so amazing. And you take a huge rock, threw it in, and now it's perfect. That's me. Okay, so it's just quiet life. I always say the bigger the stress, the calmer I am. The bigger the issue, the calmer I am. So it's my personality. I cannot live in.
I've seen that.
So
crunch time, couple days left of due diligence. We've got to make decisions. You get very focused, and it all comes down. Yeah, no, I see that.
So.
Well, and that sentiment that if you're able to lead, you're obligated. If you're able to do, you're obligated, because people are watching, and it is inspiring. And you have a whole bunch of people watching.
Yeah.
And I'm very aware of that. I know you are too. Who's been, or what has been? Because I think that influences come in a lot of ways. It can be a person that was highly influential. It could be a book you read. It could be, a documentary that you watched that shifted your thinking. Give me a couple influences that, if possible, people could check out, like a book or documentary or something, that have really impacted you.
So funny enough, I already said my dad.
Yeah.
So for many people, it would be disadvantage, demotivational. And for me, it was motivation. The disbelief was motivation for me to prove that I can. That's kind of number one. Number two, my friend, Alex, that I mentioned already a few times, my ex-friend, unfortunately, he've grown up in a family where, in a fairly rich family, they at some point became kind of super rich, and his parents were able to send him to US. And for me, it was a healthy competition. Okay, So I've seen him growing in a way better sort of the financial environment, been able to leave to go to US, get amazing education. He was always given to me as an example in anything. Oh, look at Alex, he's doing this, he's doing that. Let's say he was a little chubby, then he went to gym and just literally made himself, like ripped, right? The zero fat, perfect looking guy. I mean, and the inspiration I was getting, again, for many people, some of the things could be demotivational. And for me, it's a motivation. When somebody is telling me, look at him, that's what motivates me. That's what drives me. As far as personal, I don't think I really have an inspirational person in my life. There was so many people in my life that I've seen that I would take as an example, and nobody in particular, but everyone I took a bit of of something that I liked about it, that I thought is just amazing. That I wish I could be like that. Let's say, be a parent of that kind, be a businessman of that kind, be thinking as wise as these guys, and so on. Things that it's in relation to books. 3 books in my life that one of them is just most recent. So for the books, in a lot of cases you get asked, give me 3 books that made the biggest impact for you. And it's funny, I've never had 3. I always had 2. And recently I finally found the 3rd book that really made it, and I finally can add it to my 3rd book. Number 1 book that made the biggest impact, and the reason I'm here in the US, is Alchemist. Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. And the beauty of this book...
Sitting on my table up there.
All right. So the beauty of this book is, again, as I said, I believe in gut feelings. I believe in, in inner self. And it's about science. Look around you. Life is giving you science every single day. You just have to pay attention. You have to... just have to be mindful of those. There is a reason why they're given to you. Let's say the deal that we recently lost. As much as I can still think that I can come back to it, my inner self, as well as, let's say, Nikita, we both in the agreement, there was that last drop, that the price was just sent as a sign to us that just don't do it. If you don't understand with everything I showed you before, I'll give you a way more harder one, okay?
Right.
So that's number 1, okay? That's science. Number 2, in 2007, I've listened to a CD. It's a Tony Robbins, Awaken the Giant Within. That's book that changed me, and finally, that's the moment where I would say I started thinking bigger. I don't want to say even big, but it was thinking bigger, dreaming bigger. That was the moment where I changed myself. I opened up myself to a bigger vision, longer vision. I was able to say, write on the paper, and still to date, have a saying, I want to be a billionaire. Okay. So it just, and money on one hand never been a motivation for me. So what motivates me is process. I'm all about process. I am, in kind of, we can talk about it, but it's not money. Money is something that comes
as a result of
as a result of the process. Okay. So it's building, it's anything. Money is just, it's a default. Okay, so it will come with the result, with the process where you're going. So, and again, Tony Robbins made the biggest impact on me, and I still believe that was the best time for me to read the book. And the most recent book is What It Takes by Stephen Schwartz, Blackstone. I would say it's a Bible of PE. It's a Bible of real estate. It is one of the most fascinating recent, books that I've got. I don't read as much, I would say, Lately, I do, by the way. Again, thanks to Nikita, thanks to Rafik, thanks to my current environment, it makes me, even within the business club, we do have challenges so that you have to read the book. And the book we did as a challenge was how to make a few $1 billion. Was also a fairly unique book that I just recently read. But again, those 3 books probably are some of the most. That's I guess that's varies.
When you achieve that $1 billion and when you sense that life is winding down, you're going to be looking at what you've created to that point, subjectively, practically. What's the legacy look like? What do you want to leave that says that's what you did?
It's funny. For many years, right? I mean, this question arises all the time. What's your purpose? What do you live for? What do you work for? And legacy, comes as a word, but what that legacy is, I really couldn't phrase for a long time. Leave the impact, leave this, leave that. Recently, me and Terry flew to Napa Valley for our anniversary. And there is this castle, Italian castle, which is the winery. And we went there, we did the tour. And while we were there doing the tour, so the whole idea is majority of the materials that it's built out of all comes from Italy. So the guy shipped rocks, bricks, whatever, from Italy. So almost the whole thing is built from there. And it's amazing. It's such an amazing structure. It really kind of replicates the 15th century castle. And so as I'm walking through this castle, something just sparked in me, and I was like, man, legacy could be a building. Okay, so your legacy could be something, a building. There are 2 things in my life that I would say that drives me. As I'm growing and understanding business more and more, in the beginning, let's say business was buy cheap, sell for more, things like that. But the thing is, anything has framework. Why do you need to create a bicycle when the bicycle is there? And business is fairly easy. But at the same time, the way business is taught to us sounds too complex. So I believe in the easier education for business. And business has to be taught in the early age. It has to be adopted in schools. It has to be done a certain way. So, and anybody can tell me that kids don't care about business. My son is asking me every day about business. My nephew, their friends. I mean, especially when they see success, they want to learn, and they're asking good questions. Not only you could be teaching kids, but it's important to provide that education. So, kind of going to your question, I believe that my legacy is a building that yet I haven't designed, that will be used for educational purposes to teach business in an easy way. That's what it is.
That's awesome. It really is awesome. I've had the opportunity, not enough, but to where young, 16-year-olds, there's 8 16-year-olds that have taken Power Players. And 2 of them have taken it twice before they're 18.
I know one of them.
And you do know one of them. Yeah, Julie is one. You know 2, Mackenzie.
Yeah, Julie,
right.
Yeah.
And to see how receptive those minds are, A, just the sponge nature, and B, there's little to get out of the way. They don't have to get out of their own way. They're not undoing anything as much as adults when they are learning something at 40 or 50, that they're having to challenge to undo some thinking, to be open to new thinking. There's a lot less to undo.
Okay.
And it's just so inspiring to me that I look back at when I taught at the university, all the kids were 18 to 21 years old. And today, like Troy, you met Troy, he was 18 years old sitting in my class. Now he's the largest property owner in Whatcom County. He's they didn't know what they couldn't do, and their mind is ready to go. And so I think that's an amazing vision of the building that showcases your abilities and the content that fills it, that would leave a legacy going forward. Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Absolutely, to add here, absolutely, that my kids are, McKinsey was an inspirational for me, for my kids to be sent. And I talked to Milana, about, she's 14 at the moment, turning 15. So probably a year and a half or so, we spoke that at 16, I do want to start sending her. And second thing, as far as the education, 16 or 40, honestly. So as I said, I joined this business club, right? It's a business club, it's a business community. And within the business community, there are a few different tiers of, let's call it successful, established guys, right? Then slightly smaller scale businesses, that's kind of a second tier. And then the third is the beginners and so on. So, and I am kind of, one of the mentors, whatever you want to call it, teachers. And I can see how easy it is to change, how easy it is to impact, especially when you understand business, when you've gone through that, when you did all of this. So I think, let's say, in particular about myself, when I've gone through something, I can formulate, articulate, explain in a super easy way. Let's say if you're talking same industry, or again, business is the same. It doesn't matter you do construction or you cook bread, same thing. Same framework, same business, all the same. And once you've gone through that, it's and you understand each of those steps, it's so easy to explain how to, to
do it successfully.
Don't make mistakes that I did. You're still gonna make mistakes, but you can avoid so many of them. And that's what makes me, just being exposed to that and being, helping others. I can see how easy that is, how much of an impact, especially if it is a businessman. So I can, again, one of the other things, business communities or business clubs. People who are joining business communities or clubs are already...
Here's what I found on the internet.
Did that just turn on TV. Out of nowhere? It's obsessed. So the business club, there's a certain level of experience.
Correct.
Yeah.
So I lost my thought for a second.
Yeah. We all did. I have no idea how that just turned on. Yeah. This is a by invitation only sort of group, correct?
The upper tier is just by invitation, and you have to meet certain requirements and to join this. As far as the lower levels, now it's more of a promotion. Oh, okay. I remember now what I was gonna say. Whenever you go through or decide to join a business community mastermind, let's say commercial academy, okay? I've heard so many times in commercial academy that a commercial academy filters through so many people, and if you are, let's call, a bad person, all of this shit will come out, no matter what. As you said, an amazing thing. Money don't change people. Money enhance. If you're a jerk, you're a jerk. Okay, so same thing as far as business communities. Whenever people do decide or go for the business community, it means that they are open mindsets. They are willing to share. They're willing to share their knowledge. They're willing to share their experience. They're willing to participate, they're willing to learn. And for me, whenever I meet people in the business communities, masterminds, for me, that's already accredited type of a people just because they're part of the community. It's not an individual. I do get to ask so many times, Alex, why would you teach or explain somebody? It's your competition, your growing competition. Who cares?
Right.
You know, I would be so glad, man, if this guy becomes 10 times me.
Right.
That will be my biggest achievement in my life.
Right.
I would be the happiest if that's what happens.
Yeah.
So
when my brother was very, very involved, let's put it with Alaska Airlines and Herb Kiroff was the Keller was the CEO of Southwest Airlines. They called it it's like a respectful, competitive debate, but the rule was you had to share what you were doing, and when you give your secrets, when you give your knowledge, your own game goes up because they're competitors in this business, and so this idea of we're gonna create a strategy in the back room and nobody's gonna know what we're doing, they thought just the opposite. No, I'm gonna tell you what we're going to do, and you may take that idea and do it better than us, which only makes us better because now we have competition.
Absolutely.
That abundance mentality says I'm gonna tell you every last little nuance of how I structured this, of how I did this, of everything I've learned, hoping that you'll take it and I'll eat your dust.
Yeah.
That's abundance mentality.
I'm sure by teaching, you are learning the subject wave. Like it's a different level.
Which is why you're going to be a TA. The power players, because that side of the table, you now are teaching it, which makes your game up a couple notches.
Yeah.
Because you get asked why this, why that, why this, why that, and they're watching you. It's like, well, now you really have to formulate answers, and sometimes you go, I don't know. That's a great question. I'm gonna figure it out. So no, this is all so on track, and Alex, I think that you know this very carefully, but I said it earlier that there's a community that's watching you, the power player community for sure. But I think that you're just an inspiration, the way you conduct yourself, the way you see possibility. And just by being you and Terry being her, you're raising a bar of people are looking at themselves going, okay, listen, this is possible. We can't say it's not possible. We're watching it. And it makes people ask the question, A. B, your graciousness and your openness to say, let me know how we can help. That's the part that's even more amazing. So that's the guy I know, man. How do people stay in touch with you? How do they comment on this podcast? How do they, because you got a lot going on, so be careful. What's the best way of them leaving you a message, or do you want email, text? What's the best way?
In reality, I'm a phone guy.
Yeah.
So I'm a phone guy. It's 425-443-4501. That's my cell phone. If anybody ever wants, text me, call me. I'm available.
Yeah.
So
that all by itself is amazing. As many employees, as many projects, as many things as you have going on that you would offer that. But I think that's amazing, and I appreciate that. And they would, I know, want to do it after listening to this. My suggestion is listen to this one a few times. Take a few notes. Really refine your thinking, refine your questions so that you come prepared, right? And wow, I appreciate it. Well, there's a jillion moments ahead for us. I'm so excited about that. For an old guy, you're one of those students that already I can tell I'm going to choke on your dust, and that's the objective. That's what I really love. So thank you for being here. Thanks for coming to the hangar. It's not on your way to anything, but here you are offering what you think. Man, doesn't get any better than that, brother. Thank you.
And Greg, I am absolutely pleased that I've met you. I dare you as a mentor. The talks, the conversation we have. I'm going through, your mentorship program, and those little tips, advices. Sometimes, let's say the way I would listen to you, and you would be, I would call it like negativity. Okay, the all bad stuff, everything that can happen, you're throwing it. But what I believe is I have to be receptive, okay? There is a reason why you say it. And one of the last conversations we've had, you were, telling me all of those, and it finally clicked. It was the moment. It was, here you go. That was the issue that we didn't think. We didn't think about that. Or the other day, I talked to you, and you could be saying here and trying to tell me this, but I already caught it, in the very, very beginning. Again, I appreciate your knowledge. I appreciate the depth of your knowledge and what you do for people. It means a lot.
I appreciate it, buddy. The challenge of being me and having, this is my life for 50 years. This is what I've done, is that I do see every hole you can fall in. I also have a nose for opportunity and push just as hard when I see things. And yet I don't want to take away from the discovery process of people discovering and learning. But I look at it like a parent, I just had V here this morning, and, this young, beautiful entrepreneur. She does not know how to swim. And she told me that this weekend she was out on her paddleboard on Lake Washington. And I said, okay, wait a minute. The parent in me says, whoa. Say that again? Well, I don't really need to wear a life jacket because I have the paddleboard. I said, V, the parent in me, no kid on my watch is going to drown. It's my responsibility as a parent, right? You get distracted, and all of a sudden you slip and you kick the paddleboard 20 feet that way, and you're sitting here and you can't swim in a lake. I don't like the sound of that. Do not be on that paddleboard without a life jacket until you learn how to swim. Well, I use that, and she's going to kill me that I just said that, but I don't care. It's because I care so much about seeing people go experience, but I don't want anybody to get hurt. And therefore, when you see it coming, every parent sees it coming. They see, oh, that little toddler walking around with this glass vase or something. You go, you want to grab them because they're going to trip and break it, and you get cut, Well, there's this fine line of let them grow, let them get beat up. Fender benders are great, but I want to make sure that the car stays on the road and that you keep driving where you're going. Maybe a little more beat up, that's fine, but I want to keep you moving forward. So you'll see that this will all pay.
That's why we call you Captain.
That's why they call me Captain, I guess. I've been at sea a long time, buddy. No. So, well, many more years, I hope. So, and Maui is coming up with alumni. Oh my gosh.
Soon.
Your contribution there, you'll see it on the sheet up there. You're going to be up front working, and I'll give you plenty ahead. I'm not going to give you too much time to think about it, but you'll be up there working because you have so much to offer. So
we're always ready.
Thanks, buddy. All right, man. Listen, I appreciate it. And thank you for being with this podcast. You know how to get a hold of me. I look forward to seeing you next time.